We live in a society today where getting wealthy, getting rich is probably easier than it has ever been, as long as you're in the right vehicle. And a lot of you have trouble building wealth, getting rich, getting your goals, whatever it is that you want to do. You're having trouble making that money to fuel your passions or whatever it is to get you to where you want to go. And here's exactly why. You are in you're in the wrong vehicle. You're in the wrong vehicle. A lot of people don't understand wealth vehicles and actually a lot of people don't understand wealth vehicles and what it is to be in the right vehicle. What is the right vehicle? I mean, what is it? I know you're probably looking at all these different business models. Like what makes a good vehicle? What makes a good vehicle? What makes a good path to wealth? What? Is it your job? No, because if it was your job, you wouldn't be watching this video. Is it the current business you're already in? No, because if it was, you wouldn't be watching this video. I'm going to give you the exact vehicle. And I'm going to just define, before I even give you the vehicle, I'm not even going to give you the vehicle yet. I'm not going to give you that. But I'm going to define what that is. By the way, if you don't know, this is Femi with Landverse. And I teach people how to make a 6- and 7-figure profit income via land flipping. But before I do that, I'm going to explain to you what a good vehicle is. So a good vehicle, number one, has a very quick cash conversion cycle. So how quickly is my cash turning over? How quickly? A good vehicle also has high cash flow. So a good vehicle is a vehicle in which you're able to make a significant amount of money from on a consistent basis. So anywhere from 50, not even that, 20, 30, $50,000 at a time, that's a good vehicle. That's a high cash flowing vehicle to where you can then take your money, grow your wealth, and invest it into whatever you want to invest it into. So if you're able to have a cash conversion cycle of 30 days and that cash conversion cycle is leading you to making 30 grand a month consistently on a consistent basis, you now have two of the biggest things needed to have a high cash flowing wealth printing vehicle. Now, the last thing, a good vehicle is scalable. A good vehicle is scalable. It has to be able to be scaled. There can't be a cap on it. You need to be able to go from 10K a month to 50K a month to 100K a month to 200K a month. That is a good vehicle. That's scalable. So now with this product line that I'm running, I need to be able to scale this product line into more. Now, there are some business models where you cannot scale them. They just are what they are, right? A good vehicle, a good business model is one that you can scale sustainably. Now, the best way that I found, the best vehicle that I found that has all three of these things in the highest order, the best thing is land flipping. And not just land flipping, but literally, we're taking parcels of rural recreational vacant land all across the country. We do deals like this every single week. We're taking these, we're buying them from anywhere from 30 to 50 cents of the market value and reselling for 80 to 90 cents of the market value. And we do that consistently. So currently I'm doing anywhere from 10 to 15 deals like that every month, and we're averaging around $20,000 per deal. Cash conversion, high cash flow, scalable. You've got those three things. Now, the reason why it feels so difficult for you to build that wealth and get rich is because you don't have any of these. You don't have any of these. You might be working your 8 hours, or I don't know, whatever, I don't know what it is, but you might be working your 8 hours for $20 an hour or whatever it is, and that's how you think. You're thinking about trading your time for that for that $20 or that $25. You have to be able to change your thinking to what can I create? What can I build? What can I scale that will make me $200,000? Instead of thinking, okay, well, if I work 8 hours, I'm going to make, I don't know, $200, whatever it's going to be. Because the time and the money they don't equate. They don't. So now, take a picture of this because you're going to need this later. A good wealth printing vehicle is one that is scalable, has high cash flow, and a consistent cash conversion cycle, preferably a shorter cash conversion cycle. So with land flipping deals, what we're seeing is anywhere from 30 to 90 days to actually sell a property and get cash in. And that cash is anywhere from 20 to, I've seen as high as $200,000 net profit. Now, what is land flipping? How does this work? How do you do it? If you're new to this video, you're like, what is this guy talking about? Do I have to develop the property? Do I have to find buyers? Do I have to assign the contracts? These are common questions that I get. So are you a wholesaler? No, 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 no. So what is land flipping? One second. My board is a little bit dirty. It's kind of driving me nuts. There we go. Actually, hold on. Oh, man. Kick in the door, waving the 4-4. All you heard was from me, don't hit me no more. All right. So, you know what? Before I even talk about land flipping, I want to emphasize the mentality that it takes to be successful in any business or, I mean, really anything. Now, the first thing that like a lot of people will do, and this is, we live in the skeptic era, right? A lot of people, even when they have all the boxes checked, even when they've done all their research, they're still skeptical. And your skepticism could keep you extremely poor. It could. One thing you always have to ask yourself is like, well, what's the alternative? If I want more for myself, if I want to get to the point where I'm making 200 grand, 300 grand, 500 grand plus per year, even more, right? Whatever I'm doing right now, I'm not in that position. And if I keep doing this exact same thing, I'm not going to be in that position no matter how long it takes. So I have to find myself a vehicle. I have to find me something that prints a certain amount of cash that gets me to my goals. And if you are just, I'm not saying don't do your research, because I do extensive amount of research on anything that I do, anything. But if you've done your research and you're still like, I don't know, I don't want to pull the trigger, you're doing yourself a disservice. The best thing for you to do is to take some immediate action to learn it. Okay, let me take action. Let me just do it now. That makes you wealthy. Taking the risk on a consistent basis is what's eventually going to allow you to build some sustainable wealth. So, land flipping. Land flipping is arbitrage at its highest level. The highest level of arbitrage. So you might have heard of like shoe. I like to give this analogy a lot. Shoe reselling, where people will buy shoes for like 200 bucks, sell them for like 600 bucks. With land flipping, we're buying assets for 50 grand, selling them for With land flipping, we're buying assets for 50 grand and selling them for 150 grand. We're doing that on a very consistent basis. So one thing that is important in arbitrage, you need leads. We've mastered in Landverse, we've mastered how to acquire leads on a consistent basis, high quality leads on a consistent basis. Now, when you're able to do that, you're always in business. Always. Because as long as you can have a conversation with the seller, you can have a conversation with the seller who has an asset that's desirable to the marketplace, and you can have multiple conversations like that on a consistent basis, you're in business. So, leads. Oh, how do you get high quality leads? How do you find them? What do you do? The primary thing that we do is direct mail. We do direct mail, and we also SMS blast. Now, I'll be honest, these two, if you're trying to build a business where you always have leads like bursting full through your pipeline, you're going to need both of these hand in hand, right? Now, what I used to say is direct mail. What I used to say is send out direct mail until you max that out. But SMS is supplemental to that mail. So SMS is supplemental to the direct mail. They go hand in hand. You do not have to send out SMS blasts. You don't have to send out direct mail to start. But you do need to do one of these to acquire leads. Now, with your leads, data is also extremely important. Understanding what the marketplace values is extremely important. And if you don't understand that, then you're not going to get any deals done. If you don't know anything about land flipping, what you're thinking is like, who the hell just buys vacant land? Like, who does that? Like, I didn't even know that was a thing, unless they're developing on it. And so the first thing you have to do is change your mindset around that, because people buy land for thousands of reasons. People buy rural recreational land, people buy hunting land, people buy farming land, the list goes on and on and on. People buy land just to fish on, people buy land to run their ATVs on, list goes on and on. But you need to know that. Like if you don't, you need to know that. If you don't know that, then you're gonna be just looking for lots that people are gonna build on. You gotta be able to expand your horizons. So with data, on average, what I'm looking for are rural recreational parcels that are at least 10 acres in the Midwest and the South. And I'm looking for them to have direct road access. So either paved road, dirt road, highway, whatever it might be. I'm looking for them to be not very wet at all. And that's pretty much it. It's very simple. So I've done over 100 deals just like that. The same cookie cutter deal. 10 acres or more, road access, not wet. You can hunt on it. It's probably rural recreational land. That's pretty much it. But you don't know any of this without data. So it's very important for you to have data and understand what the marketplace wants, what the marketplace is demanding. And you only know that from looking at sold data. So we're able to go through and actually see what the marketplace has demanded in the past for the last 6 months to a year by actually looking at the sold data. So who bought what? How quickly did it sell? What price point did it sell at? That's where we start first. I start there first and I look to see not only is there demand in this area, but is there more demand in this area than there is supply? So with your data, you want to see that there is more demand than supply. When you're pulling your data, when you're looking for leads, you want to make sure that you have more demand than you have supply. as long as you have more demand than you have supply, you're always going to be in a position to sell properties extremely quickly, because that's what this is about. Remember earlier when I was talking about a cash conversion cycle. Now, if you don't have markets where your demand is more than your supply, your cash conversion cycle is going to be extremely long. The whole purpose of this is to create a vehicle for yourself where the conversion cycle is extremely low and the cash flow is extremely high. I'm going to write that down again. Conversion. Wait. Conversion cycle. Cash flow. Low. High. So, conversion cycle needs to be extremely low. Cash flow needs to be extremely high. And when you have that, you're on a path to building some pretty serious fucking wealth for yourself. Now, the only way to have that, though, is through getting leads, quality leads, through quality data, and making sure that in all the markets that you're in, these markets have more demand than they have supply, and they're actually quality assets. So when I say quality assets, this means that you can't have just run-of-the-mill land, right? It has to be something that something that you would buy, something you would want to go to, something that you want to sell. Because if you don't want to sell it, you're not gonna sell it. That's the other thing too. Like, if I wouldn't buy this myself, I'm not gonna list the property. Every single deal that I've ever done, I actually would have bought that deal myself. I actually would have personally added that to my portfolio. That's the other thing. So when I'm doing my market research, I'm also looking for land that, you know what, I would actually take over. I would buy this. I'd buy this land. This is solid. I'm actually missing something. So in all of this, the reason why we're able to, actually I did say that earlier, but I'm going to write it. The reason why we're able to make a consistent profit with this is because we're buying below the market value. So make sure you take a picture of this, take your notes. I'm going to leave this here because this is the most important lesson of the day. This right here. Most important lesson of the day. This literally is your equation to wealth. This right here. Cash conversion cycle, low. Cash flow, high. That's your equation to wealth for anything that you want to do, regardless if it's this vehicle or not. It should be this vehicle, but if it's not, whatever you're looking for, cash conversion cycle needs to be low. Cash flow has to be high. If I don't say anything for the rest of this video, understand that. Now, when I'm talking about leads, right? I was talking about leads. I had leads here, okay? So, leads. Why is it that these people sell to us for below the market value? Why do they do that? Are we scamming them? No. No, we're not. So, the reason why we're able to acquire our assets for below market value to then resell at market value on the market and actually build wealth for ourselves is because we're providing a service. What service are we providing? We're offering our leads, we're offering our sellers, the solution of buying their property quickly, paying cash, taking care of closing costs, not giving them any crazy contingencies that they would otherwise have. So they don't have these long drawn out contingencies. Now, why are we able to do that? Because we're experts at buying land. We're experts at it. We become experts at buying land by understanding different assets, what their value is, and what their purpose is on the marketplace. That's why we're able to buy these properties below the market value. You might ask yourself, well, do the sellers know that you're buying it below market value? Most of the time, yes, they do. But also, because these sellers most of the time end up in situations where they want to sell their property, they want to sell it quickly, they don't care. So this is the other thing. For every piece of marketing that you send, that is an opportunity. That is a different situation, right? So every piece of marketing that you send, right? You send out 5,000 text messages or 5,000 mailers or 10,000 mailers. That is 5,000 to 10,000 individual situations of who knows? I got it out of a trust. I'm ready to sell it now. I just broke my leg. That's 5,000 to 10,000 or more independent situations of sellers that are in a position to sell for whatever reason, which is why the marketing is so important. That consistent marketing, because every time you send out that marketing, you're marketing yourself out to people who are in situations and where they need to sell at that exact point. And so timing is everything. You make yourself extremely lucky when you're able to consistently send out that marketing, which is why for all of my Landverse students, I always say, send the mail for at least 6 months and just do that. Be consistent as possible. Send the mail, send the text for like just as consistent as, even if it's like 3,000, it doesn't have to, I'm not saying you have to spend thousands of dollars, but do it very consistently, because for every single piece of marketing that you send, that's a unique opportunity to get a deal done. Because we're providing a service. Now, the more we can make it seem like, not even make it seem like, the more we can, the more that we can present to the seller that we're offering them literally a done for you service. We'll take care of everything. We'll open escrow. We'll pay for it. We'll wire the cash. You don't even have to show up to the title company if you don't want to. They'll send you the documents. There are so many sellers that I've dealt with specifically that have never seen their property, have sold their property to me for 20% of the market value, and I got it closed within a week, and then was able to make that 80% back. So you're talking about $70,000. You're talking about $100,000. You're talking about $200,000. You're talking about 50 grand. And these are consistent. These are consistent because these assets, many a times, people don't even understand the value of them. There's been so many sellers I've dealt with that had it in a trust. I'm like, I don't care about this, so I'll sell it. There's been so many sellers that had it under a larger corporation and just had it as a side asset. Whatever. We don't really care. We just bought this for tax purposes. I'll sell it to you for 30% of the market value. But I was able to get those opportunities because I'm consistently sending out marketing on a consistent basis. Now, the way that you can present and portray yourself as a done for you service, which you are, is also by building rapport with your seller and helping them understand who you are, why you're doing what you're doing. So everything is in presentation. Your presentation, how you present yourself to your seller, is absolutely everything. The way that you speak, your tonality, your negotiation skills, your interpersonal skills, presentation, your website. Who answers the phone after they have your marketing? You cannot answer the phone, hello, yeah, I'm trying, I want to buy your land. Come on, man. You have to be you have to be extremely presentable. You have to be presentable, and you have to be someone that, be someone that you want to do business with. That's a good way to look at it. I want to be someone that I want to do business with. So that means, like, from top to bottom, integrity, speaking skills, negotiation, rapport building. Like, are you a good person? Can I see that you're a good person from talking to you? And the thing is, people can tell. Can I trust you? That's really the biggest thing, is building trust with your sellers. They need to be able to trust that you're going to close on the day that it's time to close. I cannot emphasize that enough. People come to me that were not in Landverse before, and then get in Landverse, see the program, and see how much we emphasize on building rapport. That's the biggest thing, building a relationship with your sellers. That's the biggest thing of acquisitions. It's not about all this, like, the salesy stuff. We have to build relationships with these people. You do. Even if it's only for, it's like a 1 week or 2 week report, and then we buy the property, great, that's fine. You still got to do it. Because if you're just talking to them like, oh, well, yeah, I just want to buy your land, like, bro, I don't. So have real conversations. Yes, I'm gonna talk to you about your property, but if you mention your daughter's wedding, I'll talk to you about that too for 5 seconds, then I'll get back to the property. The other thing too is when you're talking to sellers, it needs to be 80 to 90% of them talking and 10 to 20% of you talking. So that's the other thing. 80 to 90% them talking, 10 to 20% you talking. And the way you're able to do that is by controlling the conversation, asking some questions that will lead you to buying the property and understanding it. I want to know the full story behind this. Why is it that you're trying to sell this? Full story from A to Z. I need to know that. And once you're able to get that out of them, then you know, okay, great. Well, I can offer this much for it. So I need a full story on the property. Now back to presentation. There are many things that we do, even beyond talking on the phone, but that's the biggest thing. The biggest thing is talking on the phone because these people never see you in person. But website presentation, your actual marketing presentation, even in your text, how does your grammar sound? Like that's a big thing. Is like some people don't even care to have the proper grammar in their initial text message. It's like, if you're gonna do this, if you're gonna actually build wealth for yourself, you have to pay attention to details. You have to. There's some people that will send a message out and be like, yo, why would I respond to that? So if you wouldn't respond to it, don't send it out. Think about what you will respond to. Like as a consumer, think about, okay, what would I respond to? When it comes to a mailer, we make sure that our mailers have interactive experiences. So there are QR codes and other things that you can interact with on our mailer to get to know our company. We present our company as, I mean, it is now, but even when it wasn't, when I was not doing barely any deals, I was doing maybe one or two deals a month. I presented my company as a very large company. So that way, over these other 10 to 15 people, you're going to call me because you know from this mailer and what it says here, you know it's about business. You know that I'm being serious. You know I'm not trying to waste your time. You know that I'm not going to try to wholesale or assign your property. That's the other thing. A lot of people will not call you because they're going to think that you're a wholesaler, which is why the presentation and how you talk to them is very important. The other thing too, when you talk to sellers, you need to have POA. What is POA? POA is point of authority. Don't ever talk to a seller like you are an employee at the company. Talk to your seller like you're the boss. I'm the one that makes the decisions. There's a lot of people that talk to their sellers as, oh, yeah, I'm just the acquisition guy here. Talk to them as if you're the senior partner. You talk to them as if you're the senior partner, then they know that you're the guy that's going to make the decision. If I'm telling my seller like, oh, well, let me just get back. I'll get back to you on this. No, I need to know the number right then and there because you have to think about it like this. Every time we get on the phone, I've trained my people to think, hey, there's about 10 other opportunities that they have to call right now. If you don't make that offer right there on the phone, if you don't know your numbers, if you don't know your stuff A to Z before you get on the phone and talk to them, we already failed. We failed already. What did I say before? Cash conversion cycle has to be low. So if I'm taking all this time, oh, let me get back, hold on, let me call you back. What am I doing that for? Now, obviously, yes, if there's negotiations and there's things, then yes, there's some times where you have to follow up multiple times with the seller. But every time you get on the phone with that seller, you need to have all your ducks in a row. Don't ever call somebody and not have your ducks in a row. A lot of people do that. Now, before I get on the phone with the seller, I'm already pulling the comps. I already know like a rough area of like what the highest amount that I can possibly offer, and I'm most likely going to make that offer. And if they say no, then I'm going to ask, what point can we meet at? And 10 times out of 10 times, they're going to give me a number. And then I can get back to them and say, okay, well, I can probably meet you at about 5,000 or 10,000 below this. You guys are getting some game today. So that's going to keep your cash flow high, though. Every time you get on the phone, be prepared. Be prepared to talk to your sellers. Be the point of authority. Have good presentation. Make sure that it's 80 to 90% of them talking, 10 to 20% of you talking. Because let me tell you something. If you are talking for most of the time, you're not getting any information on the property. You're not. Present yourself as a done-for-you service. We're not assigning contracts. We actually buy the assets. Hold on. See, because that's another misconception. Let's clear all that up right now. That's another misconception, that we're wholesalers. No, 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 no. We control these assets. We control all these assets. We do not wholesale. I do not wholesale. I'm not a wholesaler. I do not assign contracts. I don't have to go find buyers. I don't do any of that. I don't have a buyer's list. I don't do that. Why would I do that when the marketplace just tells me where the buyers are? No need. Why am I going to keep a buyer? My buyer, you got buyers? You got a buyer's list? Oh, man. So, we actually buy these assets, right? So when we're buying these assets, we have full control over the asset, right? Now, I know when you hear me say we're buying the assets. Now, there are different people that watch my content. There are people that have the cash in droves to invest in a business model like this, and there are people that don't. Now, if you're somebody that doesn't, I JV with all of my students. Even if you are, I still JV with you. We can do deals together. I put up the money. We do it together. Okay? But we're buying the assets. We actually control them, so that way we're able to list the asset on the market. Now, there are other strategies that we also implement within Landverse to where we don't actually have to buy the asset. We list it, and we still sell the property. Those are some contractual things that we have in Landverse that I will not share here because my students will be upset. But that also exists, but it doesn't include finding buyers. It doesn't include assigning a contract. It doesn't include any of that. But we buy these assets. We do not assign the contracts. We do not do any of that stuff. Now, when it comes to actually, again, I want to just emphasize on this point. When it comes to actually selling the assets, what you need is a story. You need a story in order to sell these assets. What the fuck does that mean? A story. Who is highest likely to buy this asset from you? What is the asset? Identify it. Who is highest likely to buy that from you? How do you get them to buy it from you? You get them to buy it from you by taking the best pictures that appeal to them. One second. So the best photos, the best drone shots, and the best descriptions that all appeal to that specific profile of person. So when you're selling a property, you have to know, well, who's the highest likely person to buy this property from me, and how do I market that property to them so that they buy this from me within 30 to 60 days. Again, cash conversion cycle. With that in mind, who do I need to sell this to? What does that person actually look like? What do they do? How do they talk? Where do they eat? Like, I think about all these things. And when you think about that and you're telling a story, you're telling the story when you're selling your asset, your properties always sell so quickly. I just closed a deal and made 60 grand last week on a deal where we told the story. We just told the story. I have deals closing tomorrow as well. Today is Thanksgiving. Deals will close tomorrow as well, because we're able to tell a story. So on a consistent basis, I'm listing these properties, telling a story taking very good photos, like very good photos, to where the person who is interested in buying this parcel, they can see themselves there without even being there. Like, that's how good. It has to be that immersive. The buyer's experience has to be so immersive that I can see myself being on this property, seeing myself doing whatever it is that I want to do on this property while looking at the listing. You got to sell the dream to the seller. You have to. The dream of being on this property, like actually like visualize and see that. That's what I create in all of my listings. Now, the problem is, and where people have their cash conversion cycle high, is because they don't do that. They don't do that. They don't take that seriously. When in reality, that's your money right there. Buying the asset is half the battle. Selling it is the other half. And if you're not as dialed in, on selling it as you are buying it, you will have a high conversion cycle and you'll have low cash flow. And that is not what we want. It's 50-50. You got to tell the story. You have to make it an immersive experience for the buyer. If you cannot do that, you will have properties just sitting on the market. There are listings that I've seen. You can go look. I mean, look up Transylvania County, North Carolina. I guarantee you will see some listing where somebody just threw up some bum photos and says like, hey, check this parcel of land out. And it's just a photo of like an overlay of a property. There's not really that many photos. If there are photos, the pictures are trash. People are not very good at selling land. And so where we come in, what we teach at Landverse is to become the best at selling land, which is why all of our students are making so much money. That's what people pay me for. That's why they pay me to consult them, because I teach them this right here. People pay me tens of thousands of dollars to teach them this right here. And if you're interested in building a land flipping business that gets you to 6 figures or 7 figures in net profit within the next 12 months, click the link down below, book a call with me directly. So, if you are struggling to build wealth, understand all you need. If you're struggling to build wealth, okay, understand that all you need is the right vehicle, and the right vehicle will always have a low cash conversion cycle and high cash flow. The business model with the lowest cash conversion cycle and the highest cash flow on a consistent basis, no matter what time period of the market we're in, no matter who's the president, no matter if there was an earthquake today or yesterday, it doesn't matter. The business with the lowest cash conversion cycle, the highest cash flow, is land flipping. Will always be land flipping. This has been Femi with Landverse, and I'll see you on the next video.